Assalamu alaikum, runtings, rude boy, Nabil Aziz, becomingthealphamuslim.com, and the Becoming the Alpha Muslim podcast. This is episode 4, and today, I usually don't talk about politics and stuff like that on Becoming the Alpha Muslim, but in general conversation, my views come up. One thing I've been noticing recently is a push by American Muslims and Muslims in the West in general to gravitate towards, leftist ideas and leftist language and progressive ideology for the sake of political expediency. And I think that the black community in America is sort of the canary in the coal mine for Muslims in America and I guess Muslims in the West in general. And one of those features of the black community right now is the Black Lives Matter movement. And that's been getting a lot of play in the media, and we see a lot of Muslims going all in and backing Black Lives Matter ideologically in a way that seems counterproductive when you look at it in the grand scheme of things. Now, I think everyone can agree that abuses of power by the police and other authority figures is something bad, and we should oppose that. However, Black Lives Matter is a little bit more than that, and my guest today is uniquely placed to discuss those issues. There is a opposition to Black Lives Matter within the black community in general, and further there is, I guess you could call it a counter movement, although I don't know if they would actually describe it as that, a counter movement to Black Lives Matter called Hotep. And my guest today is one of the members of this Hotep movement, and he is a sort of authority figure, I guess a father figure in the sort of Hotep online community, just from, I guess, his following and his position. His name is Damon Handy. He's from Philadelphia, and you can find him on Twitter at Handy Mayhem. He's a podcaster. He has his own podcast, and a YouTuber. Also has his own YouTube channel. He talks a lot about, he comments on current events, politics, and just the issues in the black community in general. Mr. Handy, sir, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm all right. Thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me on. I greatly appreciate it. It's an honor.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself in a little more detail to the audience? I gave you a little short introduction right there.
This is Handy Mayhem, or Uncle Hotep if you follow me on Twitter. I guess I'm one of the founders of the Hotep movement on Twitter. Hotep is just it's just a resurgence of the woke community, or the conscious community in Black America. There's always been a conscious community in Black America. You go from Marcus Garvey to Khalid Muhammad to Farrakhan. You know what I mean? It was more. Now that conscious community was more stronger in the 80s and 90s and earlier, and it kind of went under the ground. It kind of delved off, and now with that resurgence, the growing of Black Lives Matter has seemed to there was an antithesis of it. And, some of the things that Black Lives Matter stands for is some of the things that the conscious community, that's what they strive to be. So there's always a different, what's the word for it? One thing grows, another thing grows in opposite of it. So it seems like what happened was, the feminists, the black feminists and the people in the Black Lives Matter, they started to, when people of the conscious community started to push back on some of their ideas, they started calling people Hotep. Hotep it's an Egyptian word for peace, but like I said, the conscious community, they used to use that word. So Me and some others like Hannibal and Charmelody, and we just said, hey, we're just going to own the word, and off it went. And then people started growing because some people honestly don't believe in that Black Lives Matter rhetoric, and here we are today, and Hotep is like a growing movement in Black America. I don't. It's not like we have a leader decentralized. Hotep just wants Black America to stand up for themselves and not stop using racism or excuse to not to do things. I mean, we just want to be self-reliant. We don't want to. We don't want to rely on the white liberal. We want to do things for our own, and we don't want to. We want to stop making excuses for ourselves. That's one of the big things. Self-responsibility, self-reliance are some key tenets of the current day Hotep movement.
Right. And how does Hotep relate to, you mentioned I guess the socially conscious movements. How does it relate to things like Afrocentrism and I guess the Nation of Islam as a political movement, or the 5%ers? How does that relate? Are they sort of interrelated in a way?
They're sort of interrelated, but if you take that stuff as free, like those things were the trunk for the Black American. You know what I mean? Some people just disregarded all this stuff. I listened to a lot of old Nation of Islam speeches on YouTube. I listened to a lot of Khalid Muhammad. I listened to a lot of Farrakhan. I still do all their older stuff. But it sort of grew out of that. They were really the base or the trunk, if you will. They're not as strong now. Some people don't agree with what some of they're saying because, the Black Americans went so far left that some of the stuff that they base their principles on, they don't agree with it anymore. I mean, but it sort of just grew out of that. And a lot of us, some people are close to those movements, the 5%ers and the FOI, but we just grew out of that. They are really interrelated and closely linked.
You mentioned self accountability and self reliance. That's something that it's something that's within a lot of these movements of sort of self-improvement. Even in Islam, I remember quoting this to some of you guys. I think Adonis Bravo and you as well. We said there's a verse in the Quran that says God does not change the condition of a people until they change that which is within themselves. And I think that's basically the main crux of the Hotep movement, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think some of these other movements, it's not like we're just here to just counter them, but I think just our beliefs are counter them. Some of these other movements, they want white America to change, and they base all their things on white America changing or the police changing, whatever, instead of changing themselves. A lot of stuff can be alleviated by them changing themselves. Like, the Black Lives Matter, they're really against police brutality, and everybody can say police brutality is wrong. But there's a movie, Training Day. I don't know if you've seen it. And Denzel tells Officer Hoyt, he said, it takes a wolf to catch a wolf.
Yeah.
This meaning that it takes a bad cop to catch some of the bad guys sometimes. And when we mentioned like black on black crime and why we have to reduce that, they say, they come up with every excuse in the world not to address that. All white people kill each other too. And it gets all like, but my premise is if we reduce the crime in your neighborhood, you reduce the police presence, and then you're solving two birds in one stone. But they don't want to ever hear that. So that's why you're responsible for yourself. You're not responsible for what they do. I mean, when you change yourself, they're gonna. I guarantee they don't want to hear that. But I guarantee you, they're going to look at you different and they're going to treat you different. But the Black America, they don't want to start with that. I I mean, some people do. I mean, there's a lot there to do, but at the forefront, these Black Lives Matter and all these the black liberals that have all the key points or the talking points on television and all the major media outlets, they don't address that because maybe it's an agenda, but that's what it is.
I think I've lost count how many times I've seen Training Day. I used to watch it damn near like every other night. I can quote it from like memory almost. And there's that one scene where the two crackheads are trying to rape that Latino girl.
Yeah.
And then they get what's his name, Denzel beats them down, and they're driving in the car, and he's like, what more do you want? They lost their rock. They got beat down. They lost their money. The homeboys from up the hill are probably gonna smoke them. What more do you want? And then Hoyt is like, I want justice. And Denzel is like, is that not justice? He's like, is that? Hoyt is like, that's street justice. And then Denzel is like, what's wrong with that? And the next line is really interesting because Hoyt says, so just let the animals wipe each other out, and then Denzel says, F him, F him, God willing, F him, everyone that looks like him as well. Oh man, that was a really good movie. Okay, so here's the deal. Now we got the Muslim community in America. Mm-hmm. They've thrown their weight behind Black Lives Matter. And I'm looking at it from a person who's from outside the American Muslim community. I don't have the same sort of pressures of worrying about Islamophobia or racism or things like that. When I go to the Black Lives Matter website, if I try to find out what Black Lives Matter is about, the first thing I see is her story, not history. Yeah. And then I try to go to their goals, and then it says promoting LGBTQ in the black community. And if I scroll down to another one of the goals, basically it's like promoting single motherhood and sort of diminishing the role of the black father. And all of these things, as Muslims who are generally socially conservative, and I believe black people historically have been generally socially conservative. Those things sort of ring a red flag, or those are red flags to me. So explain to us what the deal is here. Now we got there's like Black Lives Matter, which is people protesting on the street against police brutality and police killings. And then there's this other movement that seems like it is actually run by queers and homosexuals and promoting this extremely radical liberal agenda in the black community that's getting all the play in the media. So what's the deal there?
Well, it depends how deep in the conspiracy hole you want to go. What the word in the internet streets is, there was a money trail between Soros and the Black Lives Matter group. And if you look at Soros and what he's done around the world, you see he's a changer. He's a big changer. He changes things. What I think has happened is that the three ladies that started Black Lives Matter, they started because of Trayvon Martin, whatever. I think Soros threw some money at them after that Mike Brown incident and everything. In Black Lives Matter, it's a catchy phrase. If you just look at it from that perspective, it's kind of catchy and took off. Now, those three ladies, two of them were they were lesbian, or bisexual, whatever you want to call it. So they're not really, they're using, what they're really doing is they're using dead black men for the most part, and using that to advance their agenda to change the family structure in America, to change how to promote LGBT. Like you said, right? If you look right on the page, it tells you they want to bring LGBT blacks into the front of a movement instead of the back. You know what I mean? Or instead of in between. Like, but it wasn't even necessary, because if you look at the civil rights era, there were black gays that were part of the civil rights era. It seems like now today they want more attention. They want to be they want to be the actual quote unquote leaders. And if you look at the main ones with all the likes and the follows and the people they're giving all the media interviews, they're the ones that are getting the attention, the ones that are actually gay or lesbian. You know, E-Ray has met the president. Netta has met the president. They've been to the White House. You know what I'm saying? So they think they're just working on police brutality, but at the back end, they're making some more changes. Like, they're getting involved in trying to take down charter schools. They're trying to what else are they doing? They're changing attempting to change how people are taught in schools. I think the powers that be are using this group to change a big deal, and these people are just. I mean, if you throw a bag of money and notoriety in people's faces, they'll do whatever you want. That's why I like to say it's not who funds the group is who really controls the group. If you look at who funds this group, then you see why some of these things are happening. And that's why they're getting a pushback. There's a whole bunch of groups, like not only just Hotep, but other people are pushing back, and they're starting to see the jig, because all you have to do, you read right off the screen. Like, I'm a member of this Facebook group, right? And some people were talking about Black Lives Matter. I'm like, did you guys see what they have on their website? And then I that her story part and the other part about they were saying about the black family. They make mention of the family unit, but they make no mention of men in the family unit. And I showed this to people on the Facebook group, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know it was like that." So there's words starting to be spread about that, but they still have the floor, but it's slipping a little.
DeRay lives in like a mansion, don't he?
Yeah, man. I think this is one of the things because now on Twitter all my images are censored now, because one tweet I was on 4chan one day, and somebody had, because he ran for mayor in Baltimore. He was finishing like last place.
Yeah.
But when you do your voter registration, you have to fill out an address. So he used an address, and I think it's the house. Of course, it connects back to Soros, right? So somebody, used Google Maps and went right down to the house. They got the satellites. You can actually view the house. So one day I posted that house. It was a nice house. I mean, I wouldn't call it a mansion, but it was at least it was above 200.
Yeah.
It was probably $300,000 house. You know what I mean? But it was a nice, especially on the outskirts of Baltimore. It was some nice coin for it. Yeah, but I posted that, then like right after that, all my images.
It's not what you expect, like a brother from the hood to be living in, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he had posted his resume on LinkedIn. He's not. I know he grew up in Baltimore, but I think he went to all nice schools. He was never for wanting for anything. You know what I mean? He never not had his electric on or anything like that. So he comes from a decent, well-to-do family. You know what I mean? So he's not, but it's definitely not from somebody from Baltimore. Yeah, like you said.
Yeah. So what's the connection here between feminism and Black Lives Matter? Because the whole Her Story thing and the LGBTQ thing diminishing they sort of, what I noticed was like they sort of like vilify the straight black male while claiming to actually advocate on his behalf, because the guys that's getting killed are like straight black males, but they sort of look at the straight black male for some reason as a villain. So what's the deal there?
That's another thing. You hit it right on the head. That, like I said before, they only use black men. The only good a straight black man has to these feminists and it's Black Lives Matter is when they're dead. When they're dead cold in the street, killed by a white cop or a white man. That's the only reason. That's the only time they're worth something. But yeah, this is the thing in the black community. It's like 60% of Black America grow up in a single parent. That's about, and I'm giving that a conservative low number. Some people say 70. Just for the sake of argument, I'm gonna say it's 60. But these Black Lives Matter and these feminists, they will say that there's a system of patriarchy in Black America. I mean, how can there be a system of patriarchy in Black America when the majority don't even grow up in a two-parent home? This is more trying to destroy the Black family unit, and they're using that just to do it. That's why they vilify any black male. Anytime there's Ray Rice, there's domestic violence. Of course, that's wrong, but they will jump right into all that and vilify. Even that case with Derrick Rose, he just got not guilty yet because a woman was suing him in a civil case, not a criminal case, for rape. And what happened was him and his buddies ran train. I mean, he should be old enough to not do that stuff anymore, but whatever. I guess he's freaky. But anyway, they were killing him. I'm like, did you guys read the story? And then when he comes up not guilty, they're all in silence. They don't say no. I mean, it happens all the time. The straight black male he's the para of everybody. He's everybody's.
Yeah, so this is my main problem right now, because the Muslims are all up in Black Lives Matter's business, and I just see this huge disconnect. For a year now, nobody has actually from the Muslim community even critically thought about it for like 5 minutes and started to question what's going on here. Is there some sort of hidden agenda? Especially, when there's other black people. I mean, even forget about Hotep. There's, non-Hotep black people was like, what's going on here? I was watching this video of this one guy, Dr. Boyce Watkins. And he posted a video about, when the Black Lives Matter women came up on the Democratic National Convention, and there wasn't a single man up there or father up there, and he was like, "Yo, what's going on here? Why are there no dads? Why? Because dads or uncles or brothers? Because they're just as much affected by police brutality and unlawful killings as the women, right?"
Right.
And I also remember seeing this video by Killer Mike a while ago. I don't know how old this video is, where basically he's telling black people that y'all ain't ready to revolt against shit. Like you don't grow your own food, you don't know how to hunt, you're just a part of the system, and your kids don't you don't know martial arts. He's just going off on the people. It's like they want a revolution, but they're just not ready for it.
Yeah, you were exactly right about that. I watched that video too, and he was exactly right. This is another part about where you have to build on yourself and get yourself ready and stop relying on other people. They're actually the Black Lives Matter. They're trying to lead people to the slaughter. They're not, like Killer Mike said, you guys aren't ready for anything. That's why in Hotep there's a lot of people that grow their own food. You know what I mean? They're trying to eat right. These people don't even eat right. They're talking about revolution. They're eating Twinkies and tasty cakes every day. They're not out there running and keeping in shape. Well, I mean, what did they try to? What they're fooling themselves. You know what I'm saying? These cops and these white folks, they go out and shoot every goddamn day. You know what I mean? White folks in America can get shoot with since they when they're 6 or 5 or 6 years old. Their parents take them out and learn how to shoot. You know what I mean? You don't see that type of stuff in Black America. These people aren't ready for anything. And instead of Black Lives Matter working in the community and people learning these type of skills, which you'll need, they're doing the exact opposite. That's why it's disheartening, and it makes me sick. That's why I'm sick of people. Like, I had a little tolerance, and some of other people had a tolerance for Black Lives Matter when it first started. I'm like, well, okay, maybe some people need to be out there protesting, whatever. But I mean, I've had enough of that. You know what I mean? Marching people, Black Americans, been marching since the '60s. It's time to stop marching and working on yourself. Like, if people go on the there's a Hotep Nation white website, and there's a frequently asked questions. You can see what we are about. You know what I mean? And versus what, if you look at Black Lives Matter page, you can see what they're about. They're not about anything.
Mm. I'm actually on the FAQ page right now, and if anybody wants to go check it out, it's hotepnation.com, and this is his name is Ali, right?
Yeah.
Hotep. I think it's at Vibe High on Twitter. VIBEHI. Shout out to Hotep Hannibal. Over here you got the Hotep Manifesto. Okay, what's the deal with so on the one hand you have these caricatures of angry black feminists on one side, and on the other side you have a lot of quote unquote hoeing in the based on I guess pop culture and hip hop music and R&B and things like that. So why is there such a dichotomy there? Why is there no actual sort of middle ground in the black community? Either you're like this angry black LGBTQ feminist, or like you're Nicki Minaj wannabe twerking on on Snapchat.
Yeah, I mean, there is a middle ground, and most of the middle ground they get called female hoteps, but it's on one hand, that's what they're trying to lead, because like I said before, this majority of black community grew up in a single parent home. They're raised by their mothers, so to speak. So they'll get the say in what they want to do, and they have the wrong role models. Like Nicki Minaj is a role model of some of these women. Like the strippers are role models of some of these. You take Instagram and you see all these women getting money from just taking their clothes off and all this crazy stuff. And that's where but see, the feminists will back them. The angry feminists will back them just because that's a woman you have to make money. They don't realize all money is not good money. You know what I mean? They don't understand. There's an African proverb, in this YouTuber David Carroll always says a culture will go no higher than its women. Meaning that you can tell the state of a culture by looking at the conditions of the women. Now, if you look at Black American women and you see them Nicki Minaj's, you see them running to the strip club just to get a job. You know what I mean? Of course, there's some that go to school and get college educated. They're one of the leading highest ones of getting educated, even though they might be just getting some bullshit degrees. But that's another story. You know what I mean? Yeah. But some of them are working that way. But what you see in the media, they'll promote the ones that are the strippers, these women, they look up to Amber Rose, they look up to Kim Kardashian. Like they sit there and defend the slut walk. I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? And this is why, like what you were saying about how, I don't know how the Muslims and American people in America gravitate towards this, because it's two different ways of life. Like I was in the Air Force, right? And I was in Germany, and there was a TDY to Saudi Arabia. I was like, man, I'm going to raise my hand, because you go to Saudi Arabia, you don't have to pay any taxes back then. You know what I mean? So I went there for 3 months, and I was amazed. That's why I have so much respect for Islam. And there is some Islamophobia, but I think people just don't. Because in America, you can't get people to go to church you can't even get the majority of Americans to go to church on Sunday. When I was in Saudi Arabia, with the thing I always remember, and this was back, middle night, late. Because we were out there, we go downtown. It was I went to Riyadh, right? So we'll go and buy some gold. We're gonna get some gold and stuff. Like I bought a fake Rolex and everything. When prayer time hit, man, prayer time hit. It closed everything. It closed all the stores. All the stores were closed, and I'm like, what going? It was amazing to me that when there was prayer time, the streets would be empty. And I'm like, wow. Like in America on Sundays, they won't even go to church. And like, this is dedication. This is like, they actually practice what they believe in. In America, they really don't do that.
I think I remember one time on Twitter you posted like a video of this stripper job fair in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Oh man. So, okay, so when did this shift? Because my understanding is that the black community is generally, most ethnic minorities are generally socially conservative, and naturally you would assume that they would vote Republican. So why is the black community so overwhelmingly Democrat leaning or left leaning in their voting habits?
That's been the way since Lyndon Johnson. There's a meme, if people look it up. He said, I have these, you have to give them blacks a little bit, but not a lot, just to keep voting for us. And that was that Civil Rights Act. He said, I'll have these niggers voting for Democrat for 200 years. And he definitely wasn't lying. It goes just back from that. It just goes back from that. And I think the media has done a good job of portraying the Republicans as racist, and Black America Black America's jumped ship. Like they took control of the pastors and everything else. Even though the Democratic Party stands for the antithesis of what the pastors and everybody should be standing for. They voted ever since that Lyndon Johnson signed that civil rights bill. Black America has been stuck loyal to the Democratic Party. Now, since I'm 40-ish, I'm in my 40s. So when Reagan was it was Carter and then Reagan, 8 years. Some back then during the time of Reagan, they were all right with him, but it wasn't that great. And now they blame Reagan for bringing drugs in the community, whatever. And then Clinton got a hold of the White House, but see, that was Clinton during the internet boom. So everybody was eating, you know what I mean? So now everybody, and then, you know what I mean, they played up. So I think Maya Angelou called him the first black president. So that even further reinforced the Democratic stranglehold on Bill Clinton. And I always say it because, and this is why I think a lot of the older black women like Hillary, because they had to put up with a no good man like she did, and they didn't leave him. I'll say this to this day, but that's another reason, because she really does have the black women, the elderly black women. That's going to be a sizable amount of votes. You know what I mean? So that's why they're stuck on it. I think now, this election cycle, you will see a lot. They won't come out as much to vote like they did with Barack. But because you see a lot of people not liking Hillary. Democrats, they just chose the wrong candidate. People have a good memory of what happened when she called black super predators and bring them to heel. A lot of people know what the Clinton Foundation did with Haiti. So I think you'll start to see blacks start to jump off ship on the Democratic Party. It won't be, I think it'll be, I don't know, it'll be sizable. It won't be a major shift, but it'll be noticeable. There'll be a noticeable shift in this election.
Yeah, I think that's why the Muslim community has sort of gravitated towards the Democrats and started leaning left because they have this sort of sense that Republicans are racist. But I think if I remember correctly, the Muslims overwhelmingly, well, I guess a lot of Muslims voted for George W. Bush in his first term, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And that was before 9/11. And then when 9/11 happened, everything sort of switched, or in the years following 9/11, everything sort of switched. It's that I guess they have that sort of that fear that Republican supporters and Republicans are racist and against Muslims and things like that, and just for the sake of protecting themselves, they're trying to go in the opposite direction. That might be it.
Yeah.
And so basically, what's happening is you have people that would normally be, I guess you could call them Republican leaning or Republican with their views in terms of economics and society, but because they're afraid for themselves and their kids, they'll be pushing for Hillary. And I know personally of people who they started out, I don't like them, I don't like either of them, but Trump is better than Hillary. Now, because of the way the rhetoric's going and the way the media is, fanning the flames, they're actually, caping for Hillary.
Yeah, it's the media is playing a heavy game this time around. I've never seen anything like it. I know the internet being part of it is reason that, but it's kind of twofold. On one hand, Hillary is for lax immigration, but on the other hand, they're the same one dropping the bombs. They're the same one arming, trying to take down Assad. I can see on one hand accepting refugees, but you can't on the other hand. You give people bombs and start bombing to cause the refugee problem in the first place. So this is my problem with it in America. I'm like, you guys aren't looking at it. The people aren't looking at it from the proper perspective. If you stop trying to remove regimes and regime changing, then we wouldn't have any of this problem. But the Democrats are just even like, they're just as bad about it. Like, if you look at what Obama has done, he's done it far worse than just as bad as in my opinion as Bush Jr. This scenario thing is the most out of hand thing I've ever seen, and it's caused a major shift in stuff in Europe, and then what they're trying to send people here. The obvious solution is to not supply people with guns and weapons and tell them to take down other places other governments you just don't like. I think so. On one hand, it might be safer, but people are still going to be getting killed because even if Hillary takes office, I have to say.
Yeah, yeah. In this case, actually, I don't think they would. The American Muslim community is thinking of it in terms of the global Muslim community. They're just looking to self-preservation. But what you mentioned is correct. Actually, if they stop actually starting all of these wars or perpetuating all of these wars, there wouldn't be no refugees to begin with. So that takes care of the problem right there. Just stop dropping bombs, and stop arming your own particular groups that are trying to keep your foreign policy ideas going, and then you wouldn't have these problems to begin with.
Exactly.
So that's a good segue. Let's talk about Trump and Hillary now. I think your Hoteps, are they generally for Trump, or do you have them on both sides? Because I know you're trying to make America great again. I see you rocking the MAGA hat.
Yeah. Not generally. I would say if you look at it, the majority of Hoteps, some people will and some people say voting don't matter or whatever. And at some point, I think they might be right. Some people they already decided the president. That's how woke people are. You know what I mean? But If the Hoteps are voting in enemy, I think the majority would vote for Trump. I'm voting for Trump because one, I think I like his stance a little bit better on the Middle East. He doesn't seem, even though he's portrayed in the media as the warmonger, but he's not. If you compare what he's saying to Hillary's saying, it's not even close.
Yep.
I like his ideas on trade. Something has to be done. There has to be something done about illegal immigration. So even though I'm not exactly sure his stance might be the best, at least he has a stance, and it's been going on for like decades in America, with people coming in from under the southern border, and that's just if you look at the big picture, it undermines the wages in America. It's just they're just cheapening all the wages. You give all it's doing is giving the benefits to the big businesses. Now, I don't blame people for coming here. You know what I mean? If you have a chance to better your life, you're going to take that chance. I don't blame them for doing that. But you can't, for the people that live here, that's unfair to them, to the people that taxpayers. So, yeah, I've been to MAGA. I've taken a lot of heat from it. Being a black man voting for Trump, it's this is what it is. It just goes to show you that I call it the political incompetence of how strong, like we said earlier, how strong the Black America hold, the Democratic hold is on Black America. I've taken a lot of heat for being a Trump supporter, but yeah, there's a few of us that are in Hotep that are definitely MAGA voting for Trump, but I haven't met any that are voting for Hillary. Just to answer your question.
I had Ed Lattimore on their show the other day, and he doesn't really talk politics, but he seems like he's down with Hotep because he's into self-improvement as well. But in general, I mean, I think the whole idea when it comes down to it, it seems like a natural sort of decision that the American community, somebody who cares about his own welfare and his own family and taking care of his family and improving his own lot in life, would be more concerned with making his life in America better, as opposed to bringing in millions of refugees from other countries and immigrants from other countries that would necessarily make it more difficult for him to compete. Because, I mean, you guys can't compete with illegal immigrants undercutting you in unskilled jobs, right? Working for less than minimum wage and things like that. You guys have to pay taxes and all of these things and Social Security, and it makes it impossible for you to compete at that level, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, they're not just only doing unskilled jobs; they're doing some skilled jobs. If you look at any job site, I'm in Pennsylvania. If you look at any job site, that's all you'll see. I'm telling you right now, that's all you'll see. People from Mexican descent or whatever. That's all. That's the people that are taking the home building jobs. All the home construction and home improvement. That's all you're starting to see around here. So that's why I tell black people, I'm like, you're cutting your own throat at the end of the day, because you're the ones going to be affected worse. Because as soon as the more and more that comes, they're going to cut. You're going to be the ones losing the job first. I mean, they don't want to see that. They see that, and this is how screwed up Black America is. They just see it as another minority, and they say, "Oh wow, well it's us versus the whitey," but they don't understand that other minority is looking out for themselves. They don't really care about you. They're trying to get that job too. They're just the powers that be are just replacing you with them, and they don't see that really.
And why is it that I'm assuming that the black community is generally they like to talk things through, but for some reason it seems like the members of the Hotep community don't get any play in black media. Rather, it's more of a. I see them in most of the mainstream black website. They're roasting you guys, and
Yeah.
yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Why is it that you guys get no play in black media, and you need people like me to give you airtime, or people like Mike Cernovich to give you guys airtime? Because I know you're in Mike Cernovich's Silence movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout outs to Mike. I appreciate that look. I can't wait for it to come out. They do that because we're actually a threat. We don't preach to the we don't. There's a doctrine of self victimization that they stick to. Like if you read all the articles, that's all they're complaining about. They're trying to be victims. They're forcing their own propaganda on their own people. Like some people might realize that and realize what they're doing, but I guess the majority of people don't. So when Hotep comes around, they see what we're talking about, and they don't want Black America thinking like that. They don't want Black America to be selfish. That's the large picture. That's what all these because if you look at some of these magazines, these websites, they're not like literally black owned. They might have a black writer, but they're not literally black owned. They're owned by some conglomerate somewhere, and they're the ones, like I said before, who owns the group. That's their message, and they just get other people to do it. They get the black liberal to do it, and the black liberal, I mean, for some shekels, they'll gladly write these articles. So there's been so many black Hotep hit pieces. They've always done this. They stereotype Hotep in Hollywood, and some people that are listening, they might know that TV show Living Color. There was a Hotep type of person even back then, and they always made fun of that guy. You know what I mean? They made him. They super exaggerated what the person says. That's what they do about Hotep. They say, all we do is talk about Egypt and everything else and stuff like that. They're just trying to control the black culture, and it's a deep rabbit hole. But that's why we get this, and we have to come up with our own media. And thanks to you and others that give us a shout out and give us some airtime. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. There's this video on YouTube from a movie. I think it's a movie called CB4. And there's like an Afrocentric type guy, and he's like, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all. So is that one time I seen Roosh tweeted out, and he's like, this is Black Lives Matter in a nutshell. But sometimes the non-Hotep Twitter will tweet it out or put it on Facebook and say, this is Hotep in a nutshell. And what I'm trying to find out, a lot of times we'll have either black people or even Muslim people. Sometimes they'll try to claim the legacy of Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali for themselves. And I wanted to sort of talk a little bit about that, because first of all, it's a little bit silly. Like, you guys would not know if Malcolm X were here or Muhammad Ali were here, what they would do in this situation. But what do you think the line is? Because Muhammad Ali, everybody hated him until he stopped talking because of Parkinson's. When he couldn't talk no more, that's when he started getting celebrated.
Yeah. They like to romanticize those two, but because they were pretty much untouchable, they're almost demigods in the black community. Even now, you're right. Both sides try to claim him, but what we like to say is, if you take what he said then, just verbatim what he said, and you apply it to today's, they would call him Hotep. They wouldn't. He talked about self-reliance. He talked about building up the black community. He talked about, instead of, he said, I have one thing. If the black man was worth like $2 billion about with their spending power, you can build up your own buildings and manufacturers and jobs, and then you don't have to worry about the white man. But they do the exact opposite. That's what the Black Lives Matter and the Black Feminists. but they still try to claim him because he's so held in high esteem in the black community. You know what I mean? And then there's somebody wrote a book and said Malcolm X was bisexual, and every once a month or once every couple of months, one of the black leftists will say, "Oh, Malcolm X was homosexual." And they'll pull up this one book that somebody else wrote and held that up and try to shove it in our faces and stuff like that, trying to support their cause and try to say, "See, Hotep, he's Malcolm, even your person you all looked up to was gay." It's ridiculous. I think they put too much stock into that. I mean, I think you should definitely listen to what they were saying, but you should apply it to your own life and not just hold them up as some status symbol or demigod or whatever however they do it. You know what I mean? They should apply. They should actually listen to what they say and then apply it to their lives. They don't do that.
That's a good point. So, who are some of the other non-Hotep Hoteps? I know on Twitter, Erica Badu is thought of sort of as a Hotep, right, or Lauryn Hill. So, who are some of these people who, I guess, they're Hotep in their thinking, but they don't really identify as Hotep?
Yeah, definitely those two. Definitely, there's Tariq Nasheed, but he's kind of I'm iffy about him. There's Dr. Umar Johnson. I like him. I've actually seen Dr. Umar Johnson speak. I like his thoughts. Who else is there? There's RZA from Wu-Tang. There's a few guys out there. Damn, I wish I had remembered some of these people.
I mean, Dr. Boyce Watkins sounds a little bit like with his ideas of economic independence, but he's more of a like economic, financial type, scholarly type, not really into that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of, on one hand he is, on the other hand he definitely placates to the liberal side of it. I do kind of like him. I listen to him sometimes. There's Layla Ali. She's very good. I like her a lot.
And Layla Ali is the daughter of Muhammad Ali, right?
No, Zay.
Oh, Zaza Ali. Okay, yeah.
I had it wrong. I did. I like Zaza Ali.
Yeah, but I think another one is I mean, she's not Hotep at all, but she's very, I guess some of her ideas are similar. Her name is Sunny Johnson. She has a podcast, and I guess she's a Breitbart journalist. I remember one time she was on Milo Yiannopoulos' YouTube, and she was going off on black people who riling up the community to sort of riot and revolt, because she was like, these liberals are just sending you guys out to die, and you guys are just cannon fodder basically, and then once you guys get killed, that's the end of it. They're not gonna go out and die with you.
Yeah, she's definitely. I was on her. I did on one of her podcast episodes. I like her a lot. Yeah, but definitely anyone that takes a stand against black liberalism and gets a chance to get labeled Hotep by the black feminists. Definitely.
Yeah. So, tell us about your podcast and your YouTube. What are some of the things that you talk about? It's pretty popular among the Hotep community. I enjoy listening to it. I enjoy listening to your, I guess, commentary on current issues. It's funny, and at the same time, you have an interesting take on things. So, what are some of the things that what's your objective with the podcast and the YouTube?
You know what? My overall objective is to have something else. You know what I mean? I envision like me doing this, and then like after I die, I don't know if my daughter wants to listen to it and understand like what I really was about. It's like I almost want to make a time capsule of my life and the events going around it. You know what I mean? And I try to I do I try to keep it on like the black community and give my perspective of what I want. Like I had started a podcast before, and I was trying to copy. I remember this. I made like 2 episodes and I stopped, and I was like, what happened was I was trying to copy what the popular podcasts and Black Twitter were doing, and that just wasn't me. So I took a step back. I took a couple months off, and then I was like, I got the urge to start it again, and I think I'm on episode 31. I'm supposed to do one. I'm supposed to do one today, but I'm not sure what. I'm on yours. I might. But I just started talking about current events, the election, um, what I see in the news every day, and I just wanted to keep, like I said, a time capsule, so people well after I'm gone to see what was happening in these years. Especially the same thing with my my videos on my YouTube. Just a little background on myself. I'm an only child, so I used to always talk to myself. Sometimes when I got a GoPro and I got a little lengthy job driving to work. When I go into the office, usually I work from home. But when I go in, I'm like, man, I'm wasting this time. You know, sometimes I can't listen to the radio anymore. It's trash. Sports radio gets tiresome. I'll do listen to some podcasts on the way to work, but I seen like Tommy Sotomayor, he's a popular black YouTuber. I seen him do videos in his car while he was driving. I was like, man, I might as well give it a shot. I just stuck with it. The majority of them are in my car driving. I just talk what happened on the timeline or what happened in the news. I just wanted to give my 2 cents.
And do you do all of them? I guess do you prepare them beforehand, or because it always sounds like you're talking off the dome? That's even on
Yeah.
your podcast.
Yeah, on the podcast, I'll make a simple, and then I'll just ramble from there. I have some stuff in my head. I don't really write too much stuff in the podcast. On the videos, I'll just take a subject and I'll just go off the top of my head.
Yeah.
It works for the most part. Sometimes I do be rambling. Like I usually just do it in one take. I don't do any editing or anything like that. Not that I say I don't want to, but eventually, I think I might eventually start maybe do some little bit of editing. But I just usually go off the top of my head, and that's it. And whatever comes out, it comes out. And I'll upload it and see what's good.
I think it works fine. Your following is small right now. I think the main point is just get it out there. It's like
Yeah.
you put in all of this effort to edit and put it together in a high quality package. It's there's not much point to it. You might as well just 80/20 it.
Yeah.
How come you just you don't have your own website? Wouldn't that be, I guess, more practical to have all of your content through your website? You can just link to the website rather than people having to go to your podcast and the YouTube if they want to consume your content.
Yeah, you know what? I do I do have a site, but I stopped doing it. It was kind of like a blog site, and I kind of want to redo it. So that's where I'm at with that. I did have one, so but now I usually, if there's some of the content I do is on Hotep Nation, whatever, I might pick some stuff out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I eventually want to get back to having my own website. I want to grow out my YouTube page. I'm having a little bit of success there. A lot of people like, and I love it because I just did it to do it, and I'm getting a couple of donations. I'm shocked that people say, "Well, I love your stuff." I'm like, and it makes me feel happy. Excuse me. I feel like I accomplished them now. I feel like I feel happy that some people like my work and listen to it. It's a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely rewarding, and your work is really is just generally good. It's funny, it's real, and you have an interesting take on things. So that combination of that, all those three things, makes it so entertaining, and just beneficial to listen to. What's your take on the election as it stands right now? What's the black community going to do? Are they going to come out for Hillary, or are they going to jump ship, or what's the scene?
Um, Man, listen, I think the majority are still going to go out and vote for Hillary, but they're not going to come out like they're going to come out with when they did with Obama. That's out of the question. Because a lot of people remember what her comments about super predators and bringing them to heel and stuff like that. I think you'll see a surprising number vote for Trump. I think he might get as much or higher than since Nixon. I think that was the last one a Republican president that got a high number of black votes. But as far as the overall election, I can't call it because if you look out, I'm just live in Pennsylvania, so I can only tell you if I go look out and count by the number of signs on the lawns and stuff like that, it looks like Trump would win Pennsylvania. But I live in the suburbs, and the city's a different story. I think Hillary is going to get the elderly women vote. And like my mother's voting for Hillary. So, I mean, it's not, I can imagine the majority of elderly women are going to vote for Hillary because they want to see a woman, in office. You know what I mean? And that was some of my trepidation about Obama. It's like, on one hand, if you want to see a black man in office, they're like, yeah, but do you want to see that black man in office? And in hindsight is 2020, I would say no. You know what I mean? Because what he is accomplished. So I think that it's going to be close because I think because Trump is having an uphill fight. If the media was playing it fair, I think it would be a landslide. But the media is not playing it fair. He's working against the media and he's working against her, and that's in what. If you want to control a person's mind, you control what they listen to, what they see, and what they hear. You know what I mean? You can't get stuff into your brain any other way. So if you control those two things, and I think the establishment knows that, you can certainly tip the scales in Hillary's favor, even though she's by far the worst candidate.
Yeah. I think you're right. It's like seems like the media is all in on Hillary and anti-Trump. You know what? I think you were talking about Obama earlier. I think Bill Clinton is like a meme, right, in the black community. Like the first black president smokes weed, plays the saxophone, and has sex with fat white girls. Yeah, man.
Bill was charismatic. You got to give it to him. He was smart too. You can't take that away from him. He's a really smart guy. But he had, in black community, they like to use the term swag. He had swag,
right?
Especially if you put it for white guy, he had tons of swag. So that's why Black America took to him. They might try to flip it now, but back then they definitely did like Bill Clinton.
Yeah, I remember. You know what? We forgot to talk about. This is one person I really wanted to talk about. Shaun King. What's the deal with Shaun King, man?
And listen, I'm telling you, I'm gonna keep this real 100 all the way 100. All you have to do in the black community is marry a black woman. Now this guy is not. We are not. I mean, he threw his mother under the bus. He's trying to say his mother had an affair with some white skinned man, and that's why he said he's not white. I don't buy that. I mean, he looks white to me. But since he married a black girl, she's not brown skin. She's not super dark. And we go back to the women run the black community. Let's get it perfectly honest. I mean, so as long as he has his woman who's married to, the the black women in the community will give him a pass. You know what I'm saying? So that's why he's still out there and people are still retweeting and stuff. I'm like, why are you people still? He's stolen money from people. He's
Yeah, this is why I'm surprised. It's been like 6 months now, and everything's come out, and the guy had like this Twitter meltdown, deleted all his tweets, and returned all of the money. Why is this guy still relevant? It's insane to me, almost insane. And I still don't believe that he's. I mean, is he black? Is he white? Is he mulatto? What's the deal there, man?
I don't know. I think he's white. I don't think. I don't think he's. I don't think he has any minority or other ethnic or whatever. But, like I said, is that the only reason he's getting the pass because of his wife. If you look at Obama, it's the same thing. Black women love Michelle, and I mean, she's all right person. I mean, I'm not going to go in the meme of whether she's a man or not, but she's a well-spoken woman. You know what I mean? So they love her. So they'll know Obama will get a pass. It doesn't matter what he does in the community. Jesse Williams, same thing. That's why they get passes and they get love in the community just because of who they're married to, and the black women carries a lot of weight in the black community. They might try to say they're fighting patriarchy, but they're fighting themselves because it's a matriarchy in black.
Right. Yeah, what about these sort of black public figures like Jesse Lee Peterson and Sheriff is his name Sheriff Clark?
Sheriff Clark, yeah.
Yeah. Where do they fit in with this? Because they're highly contrarian in comparison to the black mainstream media narrative.
Man, they get called coons, Uncle Tom, this, that, and the third. They get catered on. They get. I mean, since they're going against what the black liberal mindset is, they get slaughtered. I'm not too cool on Sheriff. I mean, he's all right. I think he's a little overblown on some of his stuff. But I did make a video he posted. He called it was funny. He called Hillary an empty pantsuit. I was crying, laughing when he said that. But they get killed for that saying that. Like I said, I am in this Facebook group. Whenever I post some of their stuff, they'll call him Uncle Tom, or they'll call him a coon. There's a definite defense of the groupthink in Black America, and that's one of the weapons they use to enforce it. Is if you talk outside of that groupthink, they'll call you a coon, they'll call you Uncle Tom. They'll try to shame you into thinking like that.
Does the actual, I mean, like Uncle Tom as a concept, it exists, right? There are actual dyed in the wool Uncle Toms, because I mean we have them in our Muslim community as well. We call them house Muslims.
I don't know. It's tough to say. I mean, I don't know. Yes, in theory, but I mean, I think the Uncle Tom, it's kind of used wrong, because in the book he wasn't actually how it's used today. He was actually one of the heroes in the book. But yes, there is, but it depends what your definition is. Because if you ask me, I'll be like, well, you're the one that doesn't promote self-reliance in the black community. So why aren't you the Uncle Tom? You know what I mean? So why aren't you the coon? So I mean, if you want to say they do stuff to the detriment of the black community, I mean, maybe. I mean, of course, a lot of people will grow up maybe they'll grow up and not in nowhere near any black culture. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on what they grow up in, what environment they grow up in. That's going to tell you how they act and how they interact with other blacks. So it's not. I don't think it as much as people do it on purposely. I mean, I think some people are just in certain environments, and that's how that's how they were raised. You know what I mean? If you take, there's some black kids that they might be the only black kid in school. You know what I mean? If they grow up like that, and, you know what I mean? What do you think they're gonna act up? And then people will call them coons or something like that. No, are they coons or is that just the way they was raised? I mean, it's a complex discussion.
Right, exactly. And I think it gets overused to the point where it doesn't really have any meaning anymore. To the extent that I guess if you're just if you differ from the collective opinion of, I guess, black mainstream, you're gonna get called a coon, I guess. Even if your ideas are, I guess, correct.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. So, where can people who want to listen to your work find you?
You can find me on iTunes, Uncle Hotep, or you can find me on SoundCloud. You can find me there. My YouTube channel. If you just go to my Twitter handle, Handy Mayhem, there's a YouTube link in my profile. That's where you can find me. You can also find me on Hotep Nation. That's all. That's everywhere I am. I'm going to be on whenever Sir Brenovich and film and drop that movie. I'm going to be in the Silence movie. Look forward to that. That's where I'm at. So look forward to stuff from there if you follow me there.
Cool, and I'll put all of the links in the blog post when it goes up. Damon, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time out, and I think this was useful, at least to a Muslim community that doesn't know much about Hotep and the different streams of thought in the black community in America. So I just want to thank you for coming on the show. Stay on the line. And if you want to say any last words, you can go ahead right now.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate into it. It's like, hey, the Muslim community, please stay away from the liberals. I'm just giving y'all a warning, man. It's trickery, man. Don't fall for it.
Thank you. That's my goal for this podcast, to learn them some knowledge. So just stay on the line. I'm gonna close out the podcast right now. So there you have it. That was Damon Handy, Uncle Hotep, the uncle of the Hotep community, not to be confused with Uncle Ruckus, at Handy Mayhem on Twitter. I think it was an interesting discussion. So the American Muslim community and the Muslim community in the West in general, you have a responsibility to stand up for justice. And that doesn't necessarily entail you blindly following every movement that claims to fight for social justice. It's been going on a year now. The American Muslim community has been backing Black Lives Matter uncritically, with no care whatsoever for the wider or the hidden agenda between the people behind this movement and the people funding this movement. When I speak to Muslims online, most of you have never even visited the Black Lives Matter website. You haven't seen her story in place of history, and you haven't seen them talking about they want to promote LGBTQ and negate the relevance of the Muslim father of the black father in the family. Most of you have no clue about these things, yet you uncritically accept Black Lives Matter as something positive. Here you have one man who disagrees with that. And in last week, two episodes ago, when we had Ed Lattimore on, the same thing. There are so many more of these black voices in the black community who oppose Black Lives Matter categorically. And I mean, they might agree with a few things here and there. Who doesn't agree with stopping police brutality and lawful killings and things like that? But in terms of the social ills and the cultural problems, this is not what the black community wants. The black community doesn't want their communities getting burnt down by rioters. The black community doesn't want, black on black crime, where every other day there's a murder happening, to the extent that some neighborhoods in Chicago are called Chirac. So I think we owe it to the black community or the wider community in America in general, because we have a duty to all people to be more critical when we think about things like this, and to do what's best for humanity as a whole rather than just look out for our own self-interests. That's me, Nabil Aziz, with Becoming the Alpha Muslim podcast, becomingthealphamuslim.com. If you enjoyed listening to the show, please leave me a rating on iTunes and Stitcher. Ratings and reviews are how I know that you enjoyed this content and will encourage me to make more of such content. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace.